Hello and welcome to another episode of Step Up with Stephanie, life lessons that elevate the soul. I'm Stephanie Maury, your podcast host, and thanks for being here today. I want to open up this segment a little differently because we had a question to come in from our previous segment from one of our viewers, and I thought it was a great question, and it's actually a great segue into today's topic where we're going to be talking about borrowed belief systems and how many of our beliefs are borrowed, and we absolutely have the power to return them to the senders. And so Lisa wrote in and she had a question around how she could make some steps towards really ridding herself of a deeply ingrained belief system that was no longer serving her. And I think that was just such a great question because it tied to the previous episode in terms of vision and values. It's connected to where we're going today. And so I want to take just a few moments before we hop into today's episode to talk to Lisa a little bit about her question of really thinking about some first steps towards eradicating that deeply ingrained value system that she no longer wants to hold, right? And so one of the first things that I would share with you, Lisa, is giving yourself permission to let go of the value system. A lot of times our value systems have come from people, things, and places that we love and we hold dearly. For example, our parents, right? Or maybe a religious institution, or maybe an educational institution that you were a part of, and they've put things in you, either intentionally or unintentionally. And as you've grown and evolved, and as you are becoming more soul-led on your journey, those values don't resonate with you anymore. And so giving yourself permission to let them go, right? Not even judging them as good or bad. They simply don't work for you. So giving yourself permission to let them go. Because if we try to assign them as being good or bad, then there is just a myriad of emotions that goes along with that. And so when we can remain neutral and simply say it doesn't work anymore, it may be a little easier to start letting go of that process. The other thing that I would say to you, Lisa, is to really allow a new value system to emerge. And as you do that, you're probably going to be in flux for a while, and that's okay. It's not a clean break that you put down a value system today and that you pick up another value system today and that you've got a pretty good hold on it. It's going to be work and it's going to be happening over time. So as you expand and as you grow, you're going to be developing a new value system, and that is going to take time. And so allow yourself the space and grace for that value system to naturally emerge and to take root in your life. And you may try some things on that don't work for you and be okay with putting them down, right? I often say you have the right to change your mind. It's your life. It's your value system. And so you're going to have really total autonomy and agency in building out that value system. And so as you're picking up new things along the way, give yourself some space and some grace. Sometimes we are so hard on ourselves if we don't get it right the first time. And another thing that I would submit to you, Lisa, is to let people's opinions be their opinions. A lot of times we are so just inundated with what people think, what they say. That could be in a face-to-face interaction. Maybe you post something on social media that reflects a new value system that you're taking on, and you get a barrage of negative comments. You know, people are speaking from their own experiences, right? And so don't be overly concerned about what other people have to say about the value system that you are letting emerge in your life. They've got a value system that they're living, and probably if they've got that much time to be worried about what you're doing, I could guarantee you there'll probably some misalignment between their own vision and values, right? So it's almost like wanting to be validated by somebody that's invalid. It's a total waste of time and energy. So don't be too overly concerned about what others have to say. And the reality is this: some of those people may be pretty close to you, right? You probably even share DNA with some of the people that have some of these opinions about the value system that's emerging in your life. So Lisa, I hope that helps you, and I wish you well on your journey of soul evolution and transformation as you develop a new value system, which segues perfectly into today's topic, because we're going to be talking about this idea of whose beliefs are you borrowing. A lot of our belief systems and what we believe are things that we've borrowed from someone else. I often talk a lot about the work of Abraham Hicks, and he really defines beliefs as a thought that we keep having. And we keep having the thought, and guess what? That thought, good, better, or indifferent, will gain momentum. And momentum goes both ways. We can be gaining momentum in the right direction. We can also be gaining momentum in the wrong direction. And so here are some ways to know, or some things to ponder, or some ideas that you can begin to interrogate as you think about a belief system that you have, very similar to that value system that you're holding. And how do you know if it's borrowed and it's time to return it to sender? There's nothing more that I hate than letting, someone borrow something and you never get it back, right? And so when we think about these faulty belief systems and value systems, we are in a new space. There is a new paradigm emerging. And so we can't go into really this new era with old beliefs, old codes, old paradigms. And so let's make it a point to think about sending those things back to the people and places that they came from. So one of the ways to know that you are living with a borrowed belief system is what you believe inherited? Did you inherit most of your beliefs? I listen a lot also to Billy Carson, and he's just an expert in ancient civilizations. And he talks a lot about when we're born, we're giving a name, we're given a religion, a race. Like all of these things are assigned to us out of the womb. And we never really have an opportunity to develop them for ourselves. So what have you inherited in your belief system? We inherit things from family, from society, from culture, especially in this Western civilization. So many things have just been dumped into us. And so we quite naturally, we just start inheriting this, these systems. So for example, I was raised in church. My dad was a pastor most of my life. And so we got a lot of religious programming and indoctrination as kids. I can remember everything from communion and, walking around the walls on the night of the communion and shaking hands and singing these hymns and, the chants and all of those things. And I didn't know what those things were. That was something that I just inherited. And I knew that my dad, and my family meant well. And so you just take those things with you. I'm not saying communion isn't important. Maybe it's something that you elect to still take. But I've got a new value system and a new understanding of many of the things that were given to us and put into us as children that don't really serve who I am or who I am becoming. And that's okay. Once again, remaining neutral. It doesn't make them bad, bad teachers or bad parents. People pass down what they have access to. And when they're in a certain level of consciousness or understanding, they pass those things down. They teach those things. They promulgate those things. And they do it from a good place. But just because it was doesn't mean that it is or that it will continue to be. Right? So I know for many of us, we have had a lot of religious programming and indoctrination. And we've inherited those things. We've also inherited certain cultural norms, right? When we think about perhaps possibly a marriage with gender roles. And so we've inherited an idea around marriage that the man is to, provide and make the money and the woman is to be home with the kids. Well, we're in a changing society and there are a lot of dynamics that are changing, right? And that could look, there are all kinds of families and things are looking very differently in families. We have, moms, working moms that are, earning and helping to support the family. I've even seen it where, depending on where, a family is, maybe the dad is in school and the mom is working to support the family while the dad is in school or pursuing some type of entrepreneurial endeavor. And that's okay. But culture and society has taught us that we've got these roles. The woman cooks, she cleans. The man does this, he does the yard, he does those things. And while some of those things are still true, they're not fixed. They're not set in stone. And so we've got a lot of beliefs that we've inherited, and you have the permission to begin to interrogate those beliefs. I strongly encourage you to begin to think about what you believe. Where did it come from? right? Where did you learn that you go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you have a kid, you buy a house, you work 30 years, 40 years on a job, you retire, and then you die? That's a norm, that's a belief that people have around what the cycle of life should look like. That's changing. And so if you are still moving, through life with this inherited belief system and you're totally resistant to the idea of it changing, you're going to be in for some pretty rude awakenings, and you're probably going to be creating some challenges for yourself as a result of that. So another way that you can think about, really thinking about if these ideas and beliefs that you have are borrowed, is the feelings that come with it, the feelings that are connected to certain beliefs. A lot of times inherited beliefs bring a lot of negative emotions, whether that's lack, fear, poverty, scarcity. The beliefs that you have around money, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. You've got to work really hard. There's never going to be enough. All of these beliefs, these thoughts that we keep having that have become part of our belief system, right? That I've got to work really hard. I'm on a goal. I'm on a path right now, and I've got a goal. My intention is to work fewer hours and make more money than I've ever made in my life over the next 5 years, right? I've developed myself. I've developed a skill set that I am leveraging, and that is my goal. That goes against the belief that I've got to work really, really, really hard all day, every day, and guess what? There's still more month at the end of the money every single month. I don't believe that, right? I don't believe that the money that I'm able to earn or, to have in exchange for the expertise that I bring to a certain field or industry, that it's fixed, or that there's a ceiling on what I can make, or a ceiling on what I can do, or that there's only one way or one path to do that. Those things bring negative emotions. It brings me a lot of anxiety to think that I've got to work 40, 50, 60 hours every week to just have enough to get by. I don't know about you. I don't like the way that feels. But in an old belief system, that was the norm, and that was what I expected, and that's what I accepted as the reality. And on this journey of soul evolution and expansion, I've shifted from that belief system, right? I believe that I can go into a space and command top dollar for the value that I bring in the work that I do. And I expect to get it, right? And when I'm not able to it, in true integrity, I can walk away, right? You get to that point. You get to that point by working on yourself and building yourself. And so how do the things that you're believing, how do they make you feel, right? Pay attention to that. That's part of that being soul-led and soul-driven. It doesn't make me, feel good to think that things are one way and that's it. I don't have any choices. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to grow. It is what it is. And this is a dynamic universe. There are so many things, that are possible if we just open ourselves up, right? All things are possible to those who do what? To those who believe. And that's what we're talking about today. What is it that you're choosing to believe? And the reality is this: we behave how we believe. So if you take a look at your behavior, I'm able to tell what your belief system is, or I'm able to tell quite a bit by the way that you behave and the choices that you make in terms of what it is that you believe. And another way that you can tell if your belief system is borrowed and it's probably ready to be sent back to the sender is that you've not had any involvement. There's been no growth. You've not expanded over time at all, and you still believe today the exact thing that you believed yesterday or last year. I often say growth is the only sign of life. And so if you are allowing a belief system to unfold and to evolve, there should be growth. So let's take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to be sharing with you a few strategies that you can engage in to begin building your belief system, building the new one, and returning the old one to the sender. Hi, I'm Stephanie Morrow, the founder at Solstice Unlimited, where I teach high-achieving professional women how to come into alignment with their soul's highest purpose. Vision is a great part of that work, which is why I'll be hosting a vision board experience called Vision and Vino in the Dallas area on Saturday, December the 2nd. Why vision boarding? I think vision boarding is so important because it gives us an opportunity to not only think about the vision, but also think about some of the steps that it's going to take to accomplish that vision. I'll be teaching on that at this experience. So not only is it vision boarding, it's going to be a wine tasting, it'll be the holidays, it'll be a great time to enjoy some holiday festivities in community with other like-minded women. Go to solsticeunlimited.com to grab your seat today. Remember, seating is limited, and I hope to see you there. I hope you'll be my special guest this year for Vision and Vino. All right, welcome back. So now we're going to share just a few tips that you can apply to build your belief system. It's going to be very important that you take some time to build out this new belief system because remember, you're going to be shedding the old one. You're going to be returning your belief system that doesn't work for you anymore back to the sender. So here are just a few tips that I've used over the course of the years that have really helped me to reshape my belief system. Firstly, you want to think about ways that you can immerse yourself in environments that challenge your current belief system. And this is so important because, I often say that our beliefs are like our children, right? We nurture them, we feed them, like we watch them grow, and we hold on to them pretty closely. We hold them near and dear to our hearts. So giving up old beliefs is not an easy task. And so when we think about the importance of having those beliefs to be challenged and shaken a bit, it really helps us make the determination if this belief system is something that we need to hold on to or if it's something that we need to let go. And you only do that by being challenged in different environments, right? And so think about ways that you can intentionally begin to immerse yourself in environments that challenge your current belief system. And not only that challenge your current belief system, but that expand your current belief system. There is so much to know. And, I talk a lot about just the indoctrination that, I've gotten from religion over the years. And it creates a pretty narrow worldview. And so there's so many things that I've learned and that I've discovered as I've just opened myself up and I've become more willing to learn things, to have beliefs that I'm holding, to be challenged, to be expanded. Some of them have been validated. Some of them have been invalidated. Many of them have been replaced. And it's all okay. It's all about being soul-led. So no one's going to be able to write a prescription to tell you exactly what to put down and what to pick up. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. And that's why it's so important that you be attuned in terms of your soul and being able to listen to that inner GPS and know where you're being navigated, right? When to go, when to stay, when to pass, when to play. All of that it's totally on you. You've got the agency to do that, and you have to do that for yourself. There's not a coach, there's not a pastor, there's not a parent, a spouse, a friend. No one can walk that journey for you. All of those people in all of those roles can help inspire you on the way, but that's ultimately going to be a very intimate and personal journey. So the first tip, begin to immerse yourself in environments that really help you to challenge your belief system. The second tip that I would offer you is to go into those environments and take on the persona of a learner. Right? You're not going in to invalidate. You're not going in to, prove that something is wrong or to prove that some idea is flawed. You're going in as a learner. It is so powerful. And as an educator, we talk a lot in our work about being lifelong learners and how important it is that everyone in an organization is a learner. In my work, working with schools and district level leaders and all of that, everyone in the organization is a learner. Right? From the superintendent that could be at the head of a school system to, the person that helps to keep the grounds on the different campuses, right? Everybody in the organization has the opportunity to be a learner. And so having those conditions to be created for you to learn in are going to be so important. So when you take on the persona of a learner, you are inquisitive, you are open, right? You are enthusiastic. You are all of those things. Think about being a model student in a classroom, or if you were, taking a course, you're going to be showing up. You're going to be doing the readings. You're going to be making sure that you've got the materials that you need. You're going to be tuned into the lesson. You're going to be doing the homework. All of those things that model learners do. But take that and apply that in this instance. So take on that persona of a learner. And that's very fluid. That's going to change. When we think about learners, even in a school setting, there are levels. There are beginning levels. You've got intermediate levels and advanced levels. And so you'll find yourself kind of moving along a continuum based on what the subject matter is. And so based on what you're shifting your belief around, some things are going to be easier for you to take on and some things are going to be easier for you to let go. And so there will be those things that will take time. Remember, when we talk about deeply ingrained beliefs and values, and we talked about this question at the top of the episode, those things are going to take time. And so you're going to need to give yourself the space and the grace to be able to do that. So taking on the persona of a learner, making sure that you are immersing yourself in those environments. And then it's going to be so important that you connect in a community, in a community where the people within that community are the embodiment of the beliefs that you want to hold, right? They are living, they are walking, they're talking, they are really embodying fully a belief system, right? And there's so many ways that you can be a part of a community. There are in-person communities, there are virtual communities, depending on what it is that you're really wanting to shift your belief around. For example, maybe it could be something as simple as food, right? You've got all of these communities that are where you can go and learn, right? And immerse yourself in these environments and learn about different things, different ways of eating. There's so much. The possibilities are endless, where you're learning about these options and learning how to do this or learning to leverage that, or just all of those things. Or maybe it's around a particular fitness goal or something that you might have and you want to shift your belief, right? I'm in the process of shifting my belief, right? I don't view activity now as something to be dreaded, but really it's a responsibility for me, for where the vision that I've set for myself and where it is that I want to go. I have to be healthy, right? So it's a non-negotiable for me. And so when I think about that, because I've got this very clear vision that I've set for myself, it's a lot easier to get myself up and to put the shoes on and lace them up and hit the track in the morning, right? Instead of laying in bed, maybe having that cup of coffee, looking at an episode of Dateline before I log into work or log in for that first meeting with the client for the day. I know that I need that movement, right? And so there are all kinds of communities that you can go in that can inspire you, that can help to hold you accountable, that can give you tips and tricks and resources and strategies on how to leverage certain things. But you've got to be open and you've got to intentionally put yourself there, which was the first tip. So once again, let's hit those tips again. Immerse yourself in environments where people are doing the types of things that you want to do and that they are really reflecting the belief system that you're trying to build out. The second tip is taking on the persona of a learner once you get into those spaces. And the third tip is staying connected in the community where there is a reflection of the embodiment of the belief systems that you really want to hold. So as I close today, one of my favorite quotes around belief is, "We behave how we believe." And so it's going to be so important. If you want to take a look at your belief system, just look at your life. Look at your behavior. Where are you investing your time? Where are you investing your energy? Where are you investing your resources? All of those things are going to be pretty telling around what it is that you believe about yourself. And you're not going to be able to shift your belief without there being a shift in your behavior. That's one of the ways that you'll know for sure that you're on the right track and that you are in the process of creating and picking up this new belief system. So again, thanks for being here for this episode. Remember that if you're in the Dallas area, I'll be hosting Vision and Vino on Saturday, December the 2nd at 1 p.m. It's going to be a vision board experience like none other. So we're going to be doing a little bit more than cutting and pasting. There will be a teach piece there, some accountability, some on the site training and coaching that I'll be doing with participants that are going to be a part of that. It's going to be a lot of fun, right? The holidays are my absolute favorite time of year, which is why I decided to host it during the holidays. So we'll come together for some holiday cheer. It's going to also be a wine tasting and just a teach piece around some of the things that we can begin to do to give ourselves a fighting chance when it comes to vision. We cut ourselves so short when it comes to vision. We write a vision, sometimes we may tape it up on the wall or the mirror in the bathroom, and then we walk away from it. And then we wonder why when we return 365 days later that nothing's changed. That's because we've not changed and we've really underestimated what it's going to take to materialize that vision. So I'll be talking a little bit about that in Dallas at Vision and Vino on December the 1st. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you inside the next episode.